Sergeant Eli Voss had seen a lot during his time on the front lines of the Orion conflict, but nothing quite prepared him for the screams that echoed through the medical bay when they carried in the alien lieutenant from the Draxian forces. She wasn't the enemy, not anymore. The Draxians had allied with the unified human front after the Cthari invasion decimated their homeworlds. But war didn't forget former enemies so easily, especially not the wounded. Her name was Talvesha, and half her body had been caught in some kind of fast-bonding nanopolymer trap. One of the Cthari's vicious little tools. Her left arm was entirely fused to a jagged section of hull plating, burned, scorched, and sealed tight to her skin. "Don't touch me," she hissed, violet blood oozing from beneath her cracked scales. Her voice was both commanding and trembling. "I know you're kind. You'll take the arm off and call it mercy." Eli knelt beside her, checking her vitals while she twisted in pain. "Lady, I'm not cutting anything off unless you're already dead." She bared her fangs at him, the traditional Draxian show of hostility. He just stared back, calm and solid. The med team hesitated behind him. She was a war hero to her people, but if she kept thrashing, the polymer would start sawing her own muscles apart. "You want to live?" Eli asked her plainly. She blinked once. Single slow nod. "Then shut up and let me work." Middle. The next 12 hours tested everything Eli knew about medicine, chemistry, engineering, and sheer human stubbornness. Talvesha drifted in and out of consciousness, her body reacting violently to both painkillers and antiseptics not made for her biology. Half the solvents that would have broken down the polymer safely were lethal to her species, and her scales were literally melting where the polymer was hottest. Eli refused to let his team knock her out fully. "I need her aware enough to tell me if something's working or killing her," one nurse grumbled. "She's got maybe 4 hours before systemic failure tops. Just amputate and save her life." Eli didn't respond. He simply pulled up a 3D model of the fused limb, rewired the scanner to adjust for Draxian biology, and started testing different thermal resonance frequencies. If he could get the polymer to soften without destroying the flesh underneath. Talvesha groaned beside him. Her voice was hoarse now, but her tone had lost its venom. "You're wasting time. You think you can break the bond without cutting. Fool's dream, human." Eli smiled grimly. "Good thing I'm a fool then." He kept working. Minute by minute, the temperature modulation scanner began identifying weak points in the polymer shell. Tiny variations in density, invisible to the eye but trackable with precision heating. Every hour, Eli burned through more coolant gel and focused infrared beams, slowly loosening the grip of the cursed substance. Talvesha's breathing steadied, and her resistance waned. She started watching him as he moved, the precision of his hands, the sweat lining his brow. "You aren't like other humans." "Sure I am. Just stubborn and underpaid. You haven't eaten in 10 hours. You barely blink." "Why?" Eli didn't look up. He gently peeled back a section of loosened polymer, revealing raw, blistered flesh beneath. "Because I said I'd save your arm. And humans don't give up just because things are hard." She was silent after that. Hours passed. They played old Earth jazz through the medbay speakers. Eli's choice, soft piano to settle his nerves. Talvesha murmured once that the music reminded her of the wind tunnels of her home canyon. He made a mental note of that. As the 20-hour mark approached, Eli finally leaned back, his fingers aching and numb from delicate work. The polymer shell was nearly gone. What remained was fused into nerves and blood vessels, too dangerous to cut or melt. He turned to his assistant. "Get me the micro-extractor. The custom one I built for neural thread surgery." The nurse blinked. "That's for spiders, not arms." Then we're about to learn how adaptable it is. Ending. By the 32nd hour, Tulvesha's arm was free. It was ugly, scarred and raw, but it was hers. Every tendon was preserved, though some nerves would take months to regenerate. The med team clapped. One of the younger technicians actually wept. Tulvesha stared at her hand. She flexed her clawed fingers slightly. Pain flared across her face, but there was awe there too. "You actually did it," she said softly. "Told you I wasn't a quitter," Eli replied, half asleep where he sat slumped against the med cabinet. His gloves were blackened, and his arms were cramping from fatigue. "You saved me, even when I told you not to try." "Yeah, well." Eli shrugged. "You needed someone who didn't listen." For a moment neither spoke. Outside, the sounds of distant orbital battle still rumbled, but inside the med bay, there was only quiet. Tulvesha stood wobbling. Eli lurched up to help her, and she accepted the support without pride. "I was raised to believe humans were brutal, that you burned what you couldn't save. We used to be like that. Some of us still are. But not today. Not here." She looked at him then, really looked, beyond his pale skin, the blood under his nails, the fatigue in his eyes. She saw something unexpected. "Why did you care?" He frowned slightly. "Because you're my ally. 'Cause you deserved a chance. Because I was tired of cutting off arms just to win another damn war." She nodded slowly. In the weeks that followed, Tulvesha underwent extensive rehab. Eli visited her every day, sometimes to check on her recovery, sometimes just to argue with her over food preferences or laugh about the absurdity of alien physical therapy devices. The war dragged on, but the story of the Draxian officer and the human medic spread like wildfire, across species, across units. Enemies started talking. Allies fought harder together. Wounds healed slowly. And Tulvesha. She began wearing a black medical patch on her shoulder, Eli's personal insignia. Not a medal, not an official alliance decoration. Just a symbol. One day, she caught him at the base mess hall, sat down beside him and said, "When this is over, I want to return the favor. I want to understand your people the way you tried to understand me." Eli blinked, then smiled. "Sure. I'll introduce you to barbecue and sarcasm. Maybe even get you to enjoy Earth jazz. And I will teach you Draxian hunting chants. Fair trade." They sat in silence, side by side. Because sometimes in the heart of war, the most human thing isn't victory. It's refusing to give up, on hope, on people, on even a single arm glued to fate.